Many people probably think climate change is a modern problem. But what if I told you humanity has lived through dramatic climate swings in the last 1,000 years alone?
There clearly was a warm period. There is evidence from all around the globe that it was much warmer in the year 1000 than today. We still have not gotten as warm as it was then.
Today, climate change dominates politics and headlines.
Climate change.
Global temperatures are
continued temperature records.
More of this globally. Climate change driven by human activities.
We imagine a world of heat waves, floods, and disaster. But just 50 years ago, it wasn't like this. In the 1970s, scientists were actually warning about the possibility of a new ice age.
1930s were very warm, and it was getting cooler until the 70s. And that's why they were saying, well, this is going to lead to an ice age. And they focused on that for a while.
During the lifetime of our grandchildren, Arctic cold and perpetual snow could turn most of the inhabitable portions of our planet into a polar desert.
The biggest mainstream media outlets ran science-based headlines such as, "The Cooling World." US scientist sees new ice age coming. Imagine that. Instead of fearing global warming, the world briefly feared everything freezing over. More than 1,000 climate scientists worldwide challenge the notion of a climate catastrophe and dispute the idea that CO2 is the sole driver of modern warming trends. To gain a deeper perspective on climate alarmism, we spoke with William Happer, a world-renowned physicist and professor emeritus at Princeton University.
If you look over the last 10,000 years, since the end of the last glacial period, there have been many warmings and coolings similar to the one that we're in now. The climate is just famous for being unstable.
But here's what most people don't know. Europe once went through a period of extraordinary warmth between 950 and 1250, called the Medieval Warm Period. Western Europe, Iceland, and even Greenland thrived. Crops flourished, populations grew, and yes, Vikings were farming parts of Greenland.
Nobody was burning fossil fuels in the year 1200, 1300, when the poor Greenlanders were frozen out. They did some pretty good farming in the southern parts of Greenland in the year 1000, the year 1100, but before long it became just too cold to continue to do that.
The warm period, as I understand, was followed by the Little Ice Age.
Then, around 1300, everything changed. Europe and parts of North America experienced much harsher winters and colder summers. Famine struck countless communities. A period we now call the Little Ice Age. During winter, even in normally milder regions, rivers froze, harbors iced over, and alpine glaciers advanced. Artists of the era captured frozen canals filled with skaters and sleds. The River Thames? It froze at least 23 times, a phenomenon nearly unheard of before or after.
The Earth is always either warming or cooling. It's a rare time when it's got stable temperature. We're in a warming phase now. But most of the warming is probably a natural recovery from the Little Ice Age, when it was much, much colder all over the world. And it began to warm up in the early 1800s. And it's continued to warm, not very fast. No one knows how long this will last.
In the 1980s, climate change was still mostly an academic debate, with occasional news mentions.
For years, scientists have theorized about the dangers of the so-called greenhouse effect,
Research has uncovered facts to support that theory.
But everything changed in the 1990s with one graph. The famous hockey stick by Michael Mann. Humans had supposedly pushed the planet into dangerous warming. Suddenly, the narrative shifted.
We were in constant communication with the scientific.
We're serious about confronting climate change.
And save the future of our civilization.
And avoid the very worst of climate change.
School textbooks, news reports, and popular culture told the story. 1,000 years of stable temperatures, then a sharp, man-made spike.
One particular graph that is always talked about when climate is the issue is the famous Michael Mann hockey stick.
The graph is phony, and what it shows is absolutely no change of temperature until the 20th century, when it shoots up like the blade of a hockey stick. So that's why it's called the hockey stick curve. So the long, flat part of the hockey stick is the unchanging temperature.
Why don't most climate narratives talk about the last 1,000 years of extreme swings? Why did the medieval warm period and Little Ice Age largely disappear from textbooks?
It was much warmer in Northern Europe and United States, North America in the year 1000 than it is today. There really was a medieval warm period, which was what allowed the Norse to settle in Greenland and have a century or two of successful agriculture there. It's never gotten that warm again since. It may happen, but the hockey stick curve basically erased that.
When examining the oldest continuous temperature measurements in Europe, there is no dramatic hockey stick pattern.
They continued to rewrite history, so what was history yesterday was not history today,
But everyone seems to be buying this narrative that the science is settled and the earth is warming, we have to act now. Is also making it a subject that you cannot challenge. There's no room for any rational debate, and if you discuss it at all, you are now a climate change denier.
Yeah.
Which is like being an anti-vaxxer or, fill in the blank with whatever other horrible thing you could be called.
Politicians are very attractive to this because it gives them power.
Right. And it's hard to define.
Yeah.
And you can argue, and if you argue against it, you're a bad person.
Join the fight to defend our freedoms. Follow Freedom Research on X.